Hi everyone. So I've tried to make this video like 10 times in like different ways through Zoom and stuff, and nothing was working, so bear with me. I'm just gonna use my laptop. I'm visiting my family in Ohio, so I don't have a lot of materials with me, so this is what I had to do. And I will link my charts and stuff that I made down below if you guys want to use them to go with the video. So my whiteboard topic this week was ADLs and IADLs. So first I made a Venn diagram kind of just describing ADLs and IADLs, which are very important in our profession. We really focus on these areas. ADLs, activities of daily living. When I think of these, I think of like very basic activities that someone has to do to be able to be independent at home without like a caregiver or living in a facility. So these include dressing, bathing, feeding, toileting. While as IADLs, I think of more like complex areas that someone has to be able to do, but these are areas that I feel like you can get more help with and not necessarily need like a full-time caregiver or like have to be in a facility if you can't complete these. And in my Venn diagram, you can see I have medication management, shopping, home management. So especially like shopping in today's world, you can get groceries delivered to your house. Home management, you can have someone come clean every other week. And medication management, there's programs that the medicine will get delivered to your house, and you literally, it'll all be sorted out for you for each day and time. And you can set like an alarm to cognitively remember to take them. So together, this allows someone to be fully independent. So the next chart I made, thinking of like the NBCOT and what we might see on the test, I think with ADLs and IADLs, a lot of it will be like assessments that we might come across. So I just made this little chart, common assessments, and again, it will be below. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is the Barthel Index. The Barthel Index assesses ADLs in 10 different categories: feeding, bathing, grooming, dressing, bowel and bladder, toilet transfers, mobility, and stairs. So I actually used the Barthel Index a lot in my second level 2 field work. It was actually required by the company to complete the Barthel on every evaluation. And it was actually really cool because I got to see, and it was very measurable. Like I got to see someone at eval, they might have been dependent with most of the things. And then at discharge, when we got to send them home, they were only maybe like min-assist, and you could really track their progress throughout their whole thing, because every like progress note, you would also like fill out the Barthel Index. So you really got to see them progress or stay the same. So I really liked it. And it also really goes hand in hand with like the GG codes, because we also had to fill those out at my level 2 field work. And looking at the Barthel, it made it easier for me to fill out the GGs, if that makes sense. And the Barthel Index is all like observation. So I would just, during my evaluation, I would just observe the patient doing these things and being able to fill it out that way. So then the next one is the FIM, the Functional Independence Measure, and this is a assessment that looks both at the physical and cognitive disability and how it impacts a patient's ADL performance. And there's different categories. I know OT and most facilities really only focus on the self-care domain, while PT might focus on the motor and speech might work more on the cognitive. But as we know, occupational therapists, we can look at all domains and complete all sections of the test. It's just a little bit longer, so if you don't have enough time to complete the assessment, that's the only way, because it takes about, I think, like 50 minutes to do. But yes, so that also looks at ADLs. The next one is the COPAM, the Canadian Occupational Therapy Performance Measure, sorry. And this one I really like because it ranks like what a patient finds important through like leisure, productivity, and self-care. So as occupational therapists, it's really important to make sure what we're doing is something that the patient wants to do. Like if the patient before they came to us couldn't do lower body dressing, and that's not really going to be our main focus, while it, as one of their leisure tasks like knitting or something might be really important for them to do. So it's important for us to find adaptations so they can complete those things that they love to do. And the COPUM allows us to see what is the most important to our patient and what is not so important to them. And the last one is the clock drawing test. This is a very simple test. You just have them draw a clock and make sure that they draw the numbers correctly in the hands correctly. And this allows us to see their executive function, because not all the time patients can't complete ADLs because of like motor disabilities. There might be something going on cognitively. So if we can find out what their cognition status is, this will allow us to be able to make adaptations to their ADLs, like brushing your teeth. They might, if you lay out the toothbrush and toothpaste like set up and then put a visual on their mirror, they might be able to complete the task. So these kind of tests allow us to see the cognitive abilities of our patients, which also helps with and impacts ADLs and IADLs, the completion of it. So that is my charts. The last thing that I can see on the NBCOT that we should focus on is kind of like thinking how to adapt tasks like ADLs, because I've had questions on practice exams, say like a patient had a right hip surgery and they're following their precautions. What adaptive equipment would we use to show them how to lower body dress? Something like that. And that's where you have to really clinically think like, okay, the hip precautions are don't bend, don't twist, and don't cross your legs. So then you can eliminate answers. But we will also have other questions with other diagnosis and other things too that we're going to have to adapt based on like the diagnosis and the tasks that they need to complete, whether it be ADLs and IADLs. So that is another thing for us to look out for. But yes, thank you guys for being patient with me with my setup. Next week will be better because I will be back home. But yes, if you have any questions, just you can email me or write down below in the discussion board and I will answer it to the best of my ability. Thank you. Bye.